and welcome to Us House Outdoors. Today I'm not on the boat because I pulled the plug and I broke it. So I had to go to the bait store today and buy a new plug. While I was there waiting, the gentleman and his son came in, and they were from Minnesota and we're down here in Missouri, and he was asking what pound test and explained that his son had caught 2 fish and broke the line and didn't know what, pound test. And so I told him that, general, just 10-pound mono is fine around here as a just a general all-around, all species fishing line, medium, heavy, fast action tip. It's fine with a 10-pound mono. And there was another gentleman there, and he had brought up fluorocarbon. Well, yeah, if you're fishing around rocks and you got that mono and it's rubbing, then yeah, mono may not be the best option. So fluorocarbon, it's tougher and you're not going to have the fray problem that you will with mono or with a braided line. So fluorocarbon is what he decided he wanted to go with. And I was telling him he didn't have to re-spool the whole reel, that he could do a 5-foot leader and do a blood knot. Well, both of them kind of looked at me, and I started thinking that not everybody knows all these knots. So I'm going to do a couple knots that are common that I use all the time. The Palomar knot is my favorite knot. It's the strongest knot that I can think of, and once I started using it, I use it for everything, whether or not I'm bass fishing, whether or not I'm crappie fishing. It really doesn't matter. It's just it's a really strong knot. And a lot of people come down to Missouri to do crappie fishing, so I went ahead and I threw in a quick loop knot that I'm going to show you guys how to do. And if you're going to use one jig, that's fine. You can do a loop knot and or just a Palomar or whatever you want at the end. But if you're going to use 2 jigs, the loop knot, you can put 2 jigs about 1 foot apart, use the loop knot on the upper jig, and maybe you wanted to use a Aberdeen hook with a minnow on it and then a jig at the bottom as weight, to pull it down a little bit faster instead of using a split shot. So anyway, I just thought I would make a real quick video and shoot it out to you, because I take things for granted that I've fished for almost 40 years, and not everybody's got that experience. And a good friend of mine, fishing buddy, he taught me so much when I lived up in North Dakota, and we used to fish on Lake Jacomo in Missouri all the time, and he was a wealth of knowledge, and not everybody has that. So I want to share what I can with those of you watching my videos, so that way you understand what I'm talking about. And knowledge is key, like I said in my last video. If I can build your toolbox with knowledge, or your tackle box, then that's just more ammunition you have to put out there, so that way you can put more fish in your boat. So I'm going to also show you what a jigging spoon is. Somebody had hit me on Facebook and said they didn't know what a jigging spoon was, and I get it. There's different kinds of spoons out there. When I was up north, I used the Red Devil spoon, which is a red and white spoon, all the time. I'd use it for your northern pike mainly, and just troll it behind the boat. And started thinking about it, and so I'm going to show you what a jigging spoon is. I use peppered spoons down here at Lake of the Ozarks all the time. I started using the peppered jigging spoons vertical at Lake Jacomo, and the white bass love them, the crappie love them, bluegill. I've caught all 3 of those species with them. So I'll show you what that is, and I'll head outside and show you a couple knots and show you a little bit about the jigging spoons, assortment of jigs, and even what a jigging wrap is, a Rapala jig. So bear with me, and hopefully you learn something. Alright, we're going to show you the Palomar knot. So you can see the eyelet. You take your line through the eyelet and then you feed it back through the same eyelet. So you got this loop right here. Okay, you take that loop and you do an overhand knot. See right here, overhand knot right there, and cinch it down. Okay, then you take this loop and you put it around whatever bait. If it's a treble hook or octopus hook or crankbait, whatever, then you take this tag line and you pull that tag line really tight, and then that right there is your Palomar knot, and then you cut off your tag end. So get our handy dandy knife out here, cut off your tag end, and that Palomar knot is one of the best knots there is. So I'm using this extremely large hook so that way you can see what I'm doing. Okay, the next knot that I'm going to show you is a loop knot. And say this is a jig. I know that's really big for a jig, but just bear with me. So you put that on. Okay. And what you're going to do is take it like this, where you got your tag end. We'll call this the tag end right here. And this one here goes to your reel. You put it on and you'll put it around your fingers like this, and then you'll take that, oh, not quite big enough, here we go. Alright, you take it and you'll wrap it around your fingers, and then you'll take it through this hole, one, oh, treble hook, two, three times. You can go 4, you can go 5, and then what you'll do is you'll cinch up on this knot. As you're cinching up on it, you can figure out how much you want for your jig. So, and whenever you're doing knots, it's always best to lubricate them, but this is a big string. So anyway, you'll have this knot right here, a loop knot, so that way if you wanted to add that jig plus more jigs, you can do it like that. That's a couple of the knots. Alright, I had talked about jigging spoons, and somebody said that they didn't know what a jigging spoon was. So I thought I would share with you what a jigging spoon is. I just took for granted that most people would know what a jigging spoon was and didn't know. So if you can see that right there, that is a peppered jigging spoon, and you can use that for crappie, for bluegill, for white bass, but normally if I'm going for white bass, I'll go with a little bit bigger spoon. So that is a jigging spoon. You use that for vertical jigging. Yes, you can cast it out, reel it in. You can use it in multiple different ways, but this is what a jigging spoon is. If you hear somebody say a jigging spoon. So there's all different kinds of jigs out there. You've got these that have the little propeller on them. You've got a different shaped head. It's got a different propeller on it. You've got your plain unpainted Jigs, but there are just a bunch of different types of jigs out there. Find what the fish like and stick to it. And another thing, while we're talking about jigs, you got these little guys. Rapala makes one called a jigging wrap. You got a hook on the front, a hook on the back, and a treble hook on the bottom. I used to use these for ice fishing, but if you have fish that are, say, sticking to 20 foot deep, you can let your line out to 20 foot, and when you lift this up, it will swim in a figure 8. The bait itself will do a figure 8 because of these little guys back here. You got a bunch of different makers of them. You don't have to go with Rapala, but as you can see, there's different colors. So they work great for ice fishing or your suspended fish. Well, I hope this helped you a little bit, give you a little bit more knowledge on knots, jigs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So what I'm going to start doing is every once in a while I'll just throw out some share the knowledge videos. You know, I had a great teacher. He's deceased now. He was a wonderful fisherman and a wealth of knowledge, Ron Stevens, and God bless him. I miss him, and I hope that I can share with you like he shared with me, and share the wealth of knowledge. And stay tuned, and I'll put more of these videos out. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, click on that little bell. It'll notify you when there's a new video out. Give me a thumbs up, give me comments. Is there more knots you want to learn? Do you want to learn the uni knot? Do you want to learn the blood knot? Write me and let me know what you want to know, and I'll make a video just for you. I've done that for an individual who was having issues with a certain mile marker here on Lake of the Ozarks, so I went down to see if I could find a different way to fish it, and come to find out that we were doing the same thing. And I'll head back down there at a later date and do some catfishing, because a lot of catfish in that area. So anyway, click the subscribe button, let me know what you think, and stay tuned for more fishing here on S House Outdoors. Thank you.